Hello?
Yes, Commissioner Scorpio, please. Sergeant Larson at headquarters calling.
This is Mrs. Scorpio, Sergeant. I'm sorry, but the commissioner's tied up at the moment. He's in the middle of a call to England.
Will he be long, do you think?
Well, I've no idea. Is it urgent?
Yes, Mrs. Scorpio, it is. Would you have the commissioner call headquarters as soon as he's through with his overseas call?
Yes, of course. May I tell him what it's about?
Yes, ma'am. There's been an accident. Captain Ramsey feels the commissioner will want to know about it right away.
I'm sorry dinner's going to be late. I had no idea squash takes so long to bake.
Oh.
How was your call to England?
Well, I talked to the constable in Campbell's village.
And?
Well, he's going to go over to the locksmith, get a copy of the key, then trundle over to Campbell's place and see what it opens. He'll get back to me.
Oh, well, at least you're making some progress. Sergeant Larson called from headquarters. It's important that you call him back.
Oh? What about?
Well, he said that there's been an accident, and Ramsey wants you to know about it.
Well, who's involved?
He didn't say.
Scorpio here, Sergeant. What's this all about, an accident? Oh, I see. Where are they now? All right. Look, if Ramsey calls in, tell him you've reached me, and I'm on my way. Right.
Do you have to go out?
Gotta go. Right now.
What happened?
Well, Ramsey said that something has happened involving Lou and Blackie, and that they're in the emergency room at GH.
They've both been injured?
He didn't say. All he said was that I definitely should be there, so I better comply.
It's Lou. Severe trauma to the head.
She's dead.
I'm told that Blackie's involved.
We don't know exactly what happened. I was with a patient at the time, but from what I understand, Blackie was with her, and Frisco and Steffi. At least they were here when the ambulance arrived, anyway.
Blackie keeps saying that it was his fault or he had something to do with it. But he's just saying that because he's out of his head. I mean, he doesn't know.
Where's he now?
Ramsey took them down to headquarters.
Under arrest?
No! At least I don't think so. I think that he just took him to ask him what happened and question.
What's happened? Where's Lou? Is she badly hurt?
Rose, I'm afraid...
No. Rick, don't let him say it. It's not true. Tell me that it isn't true.
Rose, why don't we sit down?
No, I don't want to sit down. I just want you to tell me that Lou's all right.
Rose. Listen to me, Rose. It was an accident. Nurse, will you come with me, please?
Rick, I think you should know that Blackie is claiming all the responsibility for this.
He said that here?
Rick, he keeps insisting that it was his fault.
Bert's got him down at headquarters for a bit of questioning. I'm on my way there now.
I'll go with you.
Good idea.
Blackie needs you. He was almost out of his head.
Would you stay here and be here for Rose if she needs? Where's Blackie?
He's standing in there.
Anyone there with him?
He's been in there forever.
Come on.
Oh.
Bert, what the hell is going on?
This Blackie Paris just signed his confession.
Confession to what?
He says Lou's death was his fault.
It's the kid out of his skull. He's turning an accident into an involuntary manslaughter without even an attorney present.
I'll tell you, that boy seemed obsessed.
Next he'll be acting as his own judge and jury.
Look at this thing. I mean, he confesses to stealing the song which sets up a motive for killing the girl.
Does that stolen song have to be public knowledge?
Of course it does. It's part of the confession. It's an official document. It can be admitted in a court.
Is Blackie still in there?
Yes.
I gotta see him.
Come on.
The prisoner's been told he's under arrest, Captain.
All right. Oh, get those handcuffs off him.
We're following procedures. We have a prisoner...
Get them off him right now.
Yes, sir. May we book him first?
Yes, yeah, go ahead, book him.
Blackie was kind of agitated at the hospital. How did he maintain his attitude when he got here?
Oh, yes, he was agitated and very determined.
You allowed him to make a confession. You also allowed him to sign it.
I literally pleaded with him not to say anything until you got here or an attorney.
Yet he still chose to ignore those pleas. How do you account for that? I mean, Blackie's bright. He must have known what you were saying was for his own good.
Well, of course. If he didn't, I told him 10 different ways. But I don't know, the kid just seemed to be compelled, almost possessed.
Bert, I don't understand. What do you be possessed?
Well, he had this overwhelming desire to confess, to purge himself, and nobody and nothing was going to stop him.
And he maintained his attitude all the way through his story?
It seemed to be a relief for him, even when he had to sign it.
How do you mean, Bert? You've lost me totally.
Again, I told him that he didn't have to sign. I even told him not to sign.
Well, how did he react to that?
He grabbed the pen and he signed it with, I guess I'd say, mixed emotions.
Mixed emotions? How?
Well, one was with great relief and the other was with great vengeance. Yeah, come in.
Excuse me, Captain. Parrish has been processed and assigned to a cell.
Oh, okay, where?
Block B. He's in a cell by himself.
Good.
May I see him?
Yeah, look, we can make an exception in your case, Rick. Lieutenant, take Dr. Webber down to the cell, will you?
Certainly, Commissioner.
Look, if Rick doesn't have a lawyer for him, I will. I want one here in the morning.
Good.
And he's not to be questioned again tonight, agreed?
Sure, I'll see that he's left alone.
Maybe in the morning he'll have calmed down a little bit and see things a touch more clearly.
Well, I certainly hope so. Oh, what do you want to do with Steffi Brand?
She made a statement?
No. Nor has the guy who's with her. What's his name, Frisco?
Is she still here?
Sure, she was told not to leave.
All right, let's get her in here and get a statement out of her.
Frisco, too?
No, one at a time. Her first. Maybe she'll say the right thing.
Clear Blackie, you mean?
Not deliberately, but maybe she'll prove that Blackie's blaming himself for something which is completely out of his control. Now, on the record, Miss Brand, are you aware that your statement is being transcribed and that you are giving your account voluntarily, correct?
Yeah, I'll tell you whatever you want to know.
All right. Now, just tell us, in your own words, please, what transpired earlier this date relating to the accident and the subsequent death of the deceased.
Well, I went into the hotel room, the room that Blackie and Frisco usually work in, and that's where I found Lou.
And what was she doing when you arrived?
She was playing the tape of a song.
Just an ordinary tape of an ordinary song?
No, it was a song that I thought that Blackie had written, but the tape suggested that he didn't write it.
And what happened next?
Well, I got upset, certainly, and so did Blackie. We asked her to give us the tape.
Did she?
No, she refused.
And then?
Well, we argued about it. In fact, we demanded that she give us the tape.
Go on.
Well, things then got a little heated between Blackie and Lou, and then they started to struggle.
Struggle for physical possession of the tape.
Yes.
And what transpired then?
Well, I really don't know. All I know is they started to struggle, like I said, and Lou ended up on the floor.
In what condition?
She wasn't moving.
What did you do next?
I panicked. I freaked out.
Then?
Then I went out of the room and I got Frisco and we came rushing back into the room.
Where the deceased was still motionless on the floor.
Yeah, Blackie was holding her.
Okay, look, let's return to this tape and the song. Were you aware that Blackie had in fact stolen that song?
No, I didn't know for sure. You see, Josh, who's the bellboy, he had said that it was his song. He told me that he wrote it, but I didn't believe him.
Why?
Because that happens all the time in our business. Someone has a hit song, and then there's always a bunch of people that come out from the woodwork claiming to have written it.
But you said earlier that this tape indicated that Blackie hadn't written the song, right?
Yeah.
Where's this tape now?
I assume it's still someplace in the room.
We'd better organize to have that picked up.
Right away, Lieutenant.
All right. Now, let's get back to Lou's fall here. Did you actually see it?
No, I didn't. Like I said, they were struggling, and Lou ended up on the floor.
Motionless.
Yeah, she wasn't moving.
Yet you didn't think to help her or find out why she was hurt or how she was hurt.
I told you, I went out and I went to the room and I got Frisco.
Let's get Frisco in here. That's if you have nothing else to add to this, Miss Brand.
I told you everything I know.
This is an ongoing investigation, and I have to ask you to stay in town and make yourself available for any further questions that we might need. All right?
Of course.
Good. That'll be all for now. Thank you. Off the record for the moment. Your name is Frisco.
That's right.
Is that correct? Right. Now, in a moment, I'm going to ask you some questions, which will be, well, the answers will be transcribed. Do you understand that?
Well, I'll tell you whatever you want to know, and probably not much, though.
Why do you say that?
Well, I wasn't there in the room. Steph probably told you she had to come and get me in my room.
Did she tell you that Blackie and Lou had been struggling, and that Lou was, well, Lou had fallen on the floor?
I don't really remember her exact words.
Try.
See, she was in shock. She kept saying, "Come with me," and, so that's what I did.
Back to the room where Blackie and Lou had had the struggle.
Right.
When you arrived in that room, what did you see?
Blackie was sitting on the floor.
Was he sitting on the floor alone? How?
No, he was crying. He was sitting on the floor with Lou, and he had her in his arms, kind of rocking.
Was she conscious?
No, she wasn't moving. Blackie said she'd be all right, and we all thought she would.
But she was far from being all right, wasn't she?
She was dying.
Now, you're at General Hospital when she in fact died. Is that correct?
Well, I left with the others, with Blackie.
And after you left the hospital, accompanied by Captain Ramsey here, did Blackie say anything to you?
Well, it wasn't exactly to me. It was to all of us.
What did he say?
He kept saying it over and over.
What was that?
That I did it.
Could you repeat that, please?
Yeah. He kept saying, Lou's dead and I did it. Over and over. He kept saying that.
So I decided not to question any more of them again tonight. Obviously, we're only just getting started.
It's Rose that I feel sorry for. Well, all of them, really. Rick and Blackie, he certainly didn't hurt Lou intentionally.
I have the same feeling. The thing is that Steffi's backed up his story, that Blackie and Lou were struggling when she fell.
What will happen to Blackie now?
Well, nothing for the rest of the evening. In the morning, I hope you'll realize a few things.
Such as?
That Lou's death was accidental and part of the fall, and that he was emotionally upset at the time of that statement of his, because I have a feeling that's exactly what happened.
Who's representing him?
He's refused a lawyer, but you can be sure that Rick will appoint him one tomorrow.
Does Tiffany know about this yet?
I reached her in New York. When she said, though, that she was coming back tomorrow, I held off telling her over the phone.
Oh, good. It's really awful getting bad news over the phone when you're alone.
Yeah. I decided that I'll go to the airport and break it to her then.
She's going to be devastated. She really loves Blackie a lot.
He's a good kid. We can't let him do this to himself. But the thing is that even if he changes his statement, he's going to have a lot of trouble ahead of him.
You mean the scandal?
Yeah. Even if Blackie didn't kill Lou, there's still the issue of this stolen song.
Which turned out to be a big hit.
And the fact that Blackie stole it is going to be big, big news.
Hi, just go ahead, yell at me. I couldn't settle on a dress.
Hello, Holly.
The same problem right here. 2 closets full, and I can't decide what to wear. Well, looks like you found something. I don't stand by. Well, are you ready to go?
If you are.
1 second. See you at the spa, darling.
I'm afraid not.
What did you say?
I'm not going.
Guess I'm too late.
I can't believe this, Robert. Blackie and Lou were very good friends. I mean, he really cared for her.
Something came between them.
Steffi, that manager?
You're not going to like this.
Robert, I don't like any of this so far.
Blackie's song, Make Me Believe It, was stolen from another songwriter.
Robert, that's not true. Blackie would never do something like that.
He admits to it. He also maintains that if it hadn't been for that song, Lou would be still alive. Look, I've spoken to him, Rick's spoken to him. We're not getting anywhere.
Oh, look, where is he now?
He's in jail. But even if I could secure him with a release, I doubt if he'd go. Listen, Tip, I'm really worried here.
Yeah, I know I can talk some sense into him if you just let me try.
We're getting down to the wire on this one. It may be our last chance.
Okay, well, let's go.
Hi, Robert. Tiffany.
Oh, hi, Ellen. How are you?
What a lovely surprise to see you two here. Tell me how you're coming or going.
Well, actually, we're in a bit of a hurry here.
I don't mean to be rude, but my friend's in a lot of trouble, and I've really got to go.
Must mean Blackie.
Oh, yes, that terrible thing that happened. And you always seem such a nice young man.
Could you excuse us?
Absolutely, please.
You know what it is, Grant? You're selfish. The whole world has to revolve around poor, wronged Grant.
It's not my type of affair.
Oh, that's a lie, Grant. You've been to 100 affairs just like this, and you've never complained to.
All right. We have another wife in the room. Holly, you as a wife, tell me, what do you think?
I'd really rather not get involved.
Well, please, I would really like to hear your opinion. I'm sure that we both would, wouldn't you, darling?
Sure.
All right, if you had a commitment to something and Robert did not want to go, would you force him?
Probably not.
Of course you wouldn't. It wouldn't be worth the argument.
Grant, damn it, this is important to me. This is for the spa. You used to be one of them, Grant.
Not anymore. No thanks, Celia.
Oh, well, in other words, I'm going to all parties by myself from now on.
This one, anyway.
Listen, Grant, I think I know what you're feeling. I think I understand.
Well, then, please explain it to my wife, would you?
I'm sure Celia knows. It's the same reaction that Robert has in things like this. Given the choice, he'd much rather be sitting in front of the television with a beer, but he goes. You know why? Because he knows how much it means to me.
Please, Grant, so that I don't have to endure all those stares and
All right. But I have got to leave by 10. I've got to be on the job early tomorrow morning.
Fine.
Where's my tux?
It's upstairs in your closet. I had it pressed for you last week. Okay, we're off.
Isn't that the first class?
What?
Oh, let's go.
See you at the spa at 7?
You know, the paper said that Blackie made a full confession.
We think there's more to it than that. Well, there has to be.
Yeah.
If Blackie would just defend himself.
Now, no high-pressure tactics tonight. Just let the people wander around, take it all in. I want everything perfect.
$50 a piece, isn't that a little bit steep?
Well, it's a very worthy cause.
I don't question that, but still, you could find these in a store for half that price. Tell me, everyone.
Oh, hi, honey. Oh, you look wonderful. Very dashing.
Thank you. It's a miracle I got here at all. What with the caseload of cases, heavy traffic, plus I had to change.
So what do you think of our little operation?
Well, I think it's very, very impressive. You made any sales?
Well, we were just working on our first.
I'm sorry, folks, but I'm afraid you're out of my league. Good cause or not, these prices are a little rich for my blood.
Well, if you change your mind, you know where to find us.
Right. In the meantime, if you should come across my wife, would you let her know that I'm looking for her?
Sure.
Sure will.
Sorry about the delay in getting here, but as the police commissioner, I guess I should stop at an accident when I see it.
That's okay. I needed a little time to get my thoughts together, you know.
I'll leave you alone.
And you thought we weren't going to make any money.
Oh, I guess I underestimated the power of champagne.
It opens up their wallets and erases their inhibitions. By the by, where's Robert?
Yes. At this point, I wouldn't count on seeing him at all.
Now, you realize, of course, that according to Blackie's confession, this song, Make Me Believe It, was stolen, and it was yours to begin with.
That's right, he did steal it from me.
You first came across Blackie in the Port Charles Hotel, right?
Yeah, I was working there at the time.
You played him the song?
That's right.
And then he stole it.
Words, music, everything.
Now, you were signed by Pirelli, but still you continued to hound him regarding this song.
I wouldn't consider it hounding.
Yeah, but... all right, well, you pursued it, even though your own career had been launched.
It's my song. You know, I deserve some credit.
Not to mention a few royalties.
It's not the money, it's the recognition. Hey, look, you know, a big song like that, guarantee me work for years. You know, true, Blackie's band did perform it, but I wrote it. And in my book, that means a lot.
This contract that you signed wouldn't have been in exchange for you keeping your trap shut regarding the song, now, would it?
No, I was given that contract because I'm a good songwriter.
What about the deceased?
You mean Lou?
Well, she used to hang around the band a lot. You must have noticed it.
Enough to know she was a nice kid.
You read the paper. I mean, you know why she was killed.
Yeah, they were arguing over my song. So I guess I'm partially to blame.
How do you figure that?
I don't know. Maybe I bugged him too much. Maybe, you know, it just drove him crazy, and
You figure the guilt kind of got to him. He went a bit crazy?
To say the least, considering.
Well, it looks like we did all right.
And I've got the cash. I'd say we made out like bandits.
All right.
Great. Should we go?
Yes.
Go along. I think I might do very well as a doorman if they're interested.
Honey, if you need a ride home, we'll be happy to give you one.
Oh, that's very kind of you to offer, but she already has a ride. I'm taking it.
I don't know why Grant left without saying anything to me.
Well, I'm sure that the way the crowd was, it would have been very difficult to find you.
Yes, I'm sure that was it. Anyway, drive carefully.
Oh, we will. And you have a nice night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Well, Tiffany gave it the best shot, but it didn't help. He won't change his mind.
Yeah, well, I won't be able to sleep tonight unless I give it another try myself.
Frisco's there at the moment. He shouldn't be much longer. All right, come in.
All in all, it was a fairly boring party, but the boutique did very well.
Look, I'm sorry. I just lost track of all the time.
I'm not mad, really. I understand what you're going through. How is he?
Still won't budge, Holly. He is determined to pay the punishment, the penalty, to the fullest extent, even if that means going to prison.
Now, the worst part of the whole thing is he's got no idea how awful prison's going to be.
I mean, at his young age, yeah.
Not to mention those looks. A kid like that in our prison system, they're going to chew him up and spit him out. He won't last a week.
He just stood there, Robert. He didn't bat an eyelash. Explain it to me.
Apparently Blackie's getting everything he wants.
What, manslaughter in the second? I thought if anything would change his mind, facing the DA and hearing those charges against him would. But he doesn't care. It's been like that since the first night we brought him in.
Even the prospect of jail doesn't faze him.
It's wrong, Robert. A man has to fight for himself.
You don't have to tell me that.
All right, what do we do? How do we get through? Good question. Look, we've all been knocking our brains out.
Unless someone can change his attitude, there's no answer. Now, Blackie wants to be punished. Unless we can come up with something and quick, he's going to get his wish.
Thing is, no one wins in a situation like this. Except the DA. He gets another feather in his cap. Yeah, for putting a kid in prison.
Jake,
for doing something we're not even sure he's done.
Jake, Lou's dead. Now, there's nothing you or I can say which is really going to make any difference here. If Blackie won't defend himself, or he can't, we're all helpless.
No, Robert. Let me tell you something all lawyers learn in law school. There's a defense for everything. You just have to look and dig and come up with it.
Yeah, well, the system didn't anticipate a defendant and didn't want to be saved.
Well, it's up to me to come up with something. If the kid's too stupid to stand up for himself, well, then I'm just going to have to do it for him. It's my obligation.
Look, your client wants to be punished. Now, if your obligation is to respect those wishes, you're going to have to go along.
Or drop the case.
But what's the point of that?
I can't stand around and watch him ruin his life like this.
And you can't walk away from it either. I can't, you can't. None of us can.
Well, I better get back to the grind. Excuse me.
It's unbelievable, Robert.
What is?
All the guilty people I see just walk right out of court. Hardened criminals. Let off because of some technicality or oversight.
That's a problem with the system, not you.
No, no, no. We're at fault. We lawyers. Guilt and innocence has become irrelevant. The important thing now is winning a case and cashing in our check.
That may be so with some lawyers. I don't think it applies to you.
Then why am I not prepared? Why are we so damn helpless?
Because Blackie wants it that way.
Justice is served. But no one benefits. Lou's dead, Blackie's in jail, 2 lives wasted for the price of 1.
Look, if it's of any comfort at all, I don't know what to do either.
No's. There is no comfort at all in that, Robert.
It's the best I can do.
I'm sorry, Robert. It's been a tough week for me.
Rose feeling any better?
I've never seen her like this, Robert. You know Rose. She's always so up, so strong, so willing to forgive. I went to see her parish priest, Father Raymond. Maybe he can do something. All the warmth has been drained from her. She's like a block of ice.
Jake has no defense? I mean, none at all?
It's up to Blackie. Jake can't make him tear up that confession. He's got to want to save himself.
Robert, what can we do to get through to him? I mean, nothing works.
Jake feels certain there's going to be an indictment. Now, we're going to have to accept that unless somebody can get through to this guy.
Well, I'm for going around him.
How?
Use influence. Come on, grease a palm or two. Oh, that was awful, wasn't it, Robert?
Tiffany, you know the answer to that.
Okay, but there's got to be some legal way. I mean, a little influence on a judge. I mean, to get him to at least use his influence to at least stall it a little bit.
Darling, it's bribery. Any way you look at it.
Oh, you and Senator Drake, you know, you're like the Bobbsey twins.
What?
I tried to get him to use a little pressure on the judge. I have no influence in the criminal courts. No one does.
Oh, damn right. I mean, you should never put him in that situation to begin with.
Robert, I was desperate.
Yeah, I know. We all are. We're all just as helpless as you.
Robert, we're talking about a very close friend of ours, you know. I mean, he's close to both of us. We can't just sit and let this happen to him.
Tiffany, tell me something I can do within the legal system, and I'll do it.
All right. Okay, who have we missed?
Meaning what?
I mean, people that have some kind of influence on Blackie. You've talked to him, I've talked to him. Jake talked to him, Frisco...
Rose.
You think she still has some influence?
Rick was working on her.
And?
He wasn't getting too far. However, the only chance you got there is that Jake had spoken to the parish priest, and he was going to talk to her.
Does he know everything about Blackie?
I don't know.
Well, I'll just call him. What's his name?
How would I know that?
Because you're you. I mean, you make it your business to know everything.
All right. There's Father Ryman. But look, it's not going to do you any good. I mean, Jake was due to talk to him the other day. You must have spoken to her by now.
Well, I'll just call Jake then.
But that's not going to do any good either. When he left here, he was headed towards the law library. He wanted to do a bit of thinking. Look, Tiff, a lot of people are thinking about this. You're not the only one belting your head up against a wall.
Well, I'm going to do something about it. I am going over to the diner, and I am going to talk to Rose myself.
Tiff, the woman's in mourning.
I don't care.
thought you were headed towards Kelly's.
Kelly's has come to us, Robert.
What's that mean?
Rose, can you tell me, have you been holding back anything? Any questions? Do you know anything about
Oh! What are you doing?
my job? No, Rose, would you like...
This is the commissioner's office, and it's off limits to the press, in particular you.
I like how you're throwing your weight around again.
No. I'm throwing your weight around. Out the door, as of right now, and take Jimmy Olsen with you, all right?
I'll get out in the hall, Rose, if you'd like to make a statement. Come on, Hank.
Sorry about that, Rose. They're desperate. They want to print anything.
I should have called first. Sorry.
Look, you'd like to sit down, maybe some coffee?
Yes. Would you like a cream, sugar, something?
Thanks, but I think it'd be better if I just got this over with.
What do you want to tell us, love?
Well, don't you think the district attorney should be here? I have a statement to make.
Concerning Blackie?
Rose, please. I mean, talk to him. You are his last hope. I mean, we have all talked to him again and again, and nobody can get through to him. I mean, just give him a couple of minutes, and please.
It's not necessary, Tiffany.
Please, Rose. I mean, if you just talk to him for a few minutes, I mean, it may change your mind.
I don't have to talk to him. My mind's made up. It's very clear to me. I don't think Blackie should have his life ruined by what was obviously an accident.
I better get the DA on the phone.
Rose, thank you.
Jackie's going to have her story after all.
Are you aware of Mr. Parrish's confession?
Yes.
He maintains that that young girl died as a direct result of his actions.
Her name was Lou.
I'm sorry.
As for Blackie, he wants to be punished. Because like you and me and everyone else, he's trying to find a reason for Lou's death. What he doesn't know and what is difficult to understand is there is no reason. Maybe Lou just loved him too much and her feelings got out of hand, and which then is my fault for not doing everything in my power to break it up.
Still, that doesn't account for what happened in that hotel room.
An argument, an accident, a terrible, awful tragedy that could have been avoided, but wasn't. And punishing Blackie or anyone else won't bring Lou back. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mrs. Kelly.
Do you have an official statement, Mr. Boyer?
You know better than to ask me that.
Commissioner?
Rose allowed you to be in here, Jackie. Left up to me, you wouldn't have been permitted within a mile of the place. But now that she's made her statement, I'd like you to leave.
Just in time to make the afternoon edition. Thank you, Rose, very much.
I don't know how you can tolerate having her in here. You know she's going to twist everything you said around.
Tiffany, maybe she'll print the truth. Either way, I figured it was better that she hear the statement rather than speculate on why I'm here.
You're taking a chance.
Yep. That's exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah. Okay, I'll be there shortly. Excuse me for a minute. There's some business down the hall.
Am I free to go, Mr. Boyer?
Well, yes.
Hiya, Robert.
Well, my favorite trooper. How are you, Mike?
I'm okay.
Something I can help you with?
Well, I was wondering if maybe you'd let me talk to Blackie.
I see.
It won't take very long. Just a few minutes to see how much I miss him and stuff.
Afraid I can't do that, Mike.
I know about those rules. Doc Reed told me about them. I was figuring that maybe since you're the police commissioner, you might be able to sneak me in.
Well, I'm afraid the rules really have nothing to do with it. You see, Blackie's due to appear before the grand jury in a while, and I've got to be with him.
What are they going to do to him?
Oh, nothing much. Mumbo-jumbo, lawyer talk, stuff like that.
He's going to say he's guilty, isn't he?
I don't know. He might.
You can't let him do that.
I don't have much say in that, mate.
There's nothing I could do to help.
Afraid not. Well, not at this point, anyway.
Well, I gotta do something. Blackie's my brother. I love him.
Best thing you can do at the moment, Mike, is just wait. When he gets out, he's going to need your help to put his life back together.
Well, what if he doesn't get out?
Don't think about that. We've all got to think that deep down inside, he's going to get off. Do that for me?
I guess so. If that's what you want.
It's an order. Now, let's get you a lift. Sergeant, listen, do me a favor and call Ruby Anderson, will you, at the Weather House? Yeah. Yeah, look, ask her to come and pick up Mike, will you? No, I'll bring him out to you. Right.
You'll tell Blackie I came to see him, won't you? I think he'd like that.
I'm sure he'd like it. You bet I'll tell him.
Hey, Blackie! Blackie, don't plead guilty, please. You can't, Blackie.
Stop.
Well, it's over. I just got the word. Grand jury went along with Boyer. Charges manslaughter, too.
That's as you expected.
Well, what now?
We go before the state Supreme Court judge.
When's that? A week? 2?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Can't you get a postponement?
Not without Blackie's permission, and we all know he's not going to give it. Nope. We go tomorrow, like it or not.
Then Rose's statement was no help?
We don't know. It could be. It'll be passed along to the judge. He'll consider it when he deliberates on Blackie's sentencing. In all fairness, it should bear some weight.
Sentencing? Not tomorrow.
No, but soon enough. If Blackie pleads guilty tomorrow, there isn't even going to be a trial.
Hard to believe that our boy Blackie could have had so many run-ins with the law back in his early days.
Yeah, I know, just one thing after another. But I still don't think of Blackie as being a bad kid. Just a kid with a great talent for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. I know, I was there once or twice when it happened.
Rap sheet's a rap sheet, Bert.
Yeah, and this here is a long one.
Yeah. Still doesn't quite prepare you for the mess he's in at the moment.
Robert, I still can't believe it.
Nevertheless, it's true. Our former hot-headed juvenile delinquent has now made it to the big time. Indictment for manslaughter. I'm telling you, Bert, this Blackie thing has really got me worried. I mean, it's a foregone conclusion he's going to draw a sentence.
Yeah, I agree with you, Robert. And no matter what the circumstances were, there's still a death involved, and most judges feel that rules out probation.
Then there's a business of where he's going to be asked or sentenced and remanded to serve that sentence. I mean, we all know what's going to happen if he's thrown in with a hardened lot like that at Osterwald.
Well, maybe the kid will get lucky and the judge will sentence him to Hudson or some other minimum security prison.
Hudson, at least he'd stand a chance.
But frankly, Robert, I wouldn't count on them sending him to minimum security.
Why not? I mean, the circumstances of the crime justify the facts.
Look, his attitude is clouding. He keeps insisting he's guilty. Worse than that, he acts as if he murdered Lou in cold blood.
Damn it. His attitude's been exactly the same ever since this whole thing broke.
I'm aware of that, too. But, you know, I still don't understand it.
Well, I think I do. Got to realize that basically Blackie's a decent kid.
I certainly agree with that.
And it's the same sense of decency which is motivating him now.
How?
His sense of remorse is so overwhelming, or should I say, rather, his guilt is so strong that he feels he's just got to punish himself.
Well, I can understand that, but at the same time, doesn't he realize he is only making it worse for himself?
No, because out of guilt, he's so misguided at this point that he feels that he needs punishment. And he's incapable of helping himself.
I'll say one thing for him. He certainly is consistent. Ever since the first night when I questioned him, he's never said anything to mitigate the circumstances or put himself in a better light.
Because psychologically, he can't. Now, I can only hope that today's court proceedings might trigger something.
Trigger something in what way?
To realize he's in big trouble. If what goes down in the court today really scares him, he may just decide to put his best foot forward and get the judge on his side.
Thank you so much, ladies. I hope you'll tell your friends what we have for sale here.
Oh, we will.
Everything's so beautiful. Thank you. And of course, remember, all the profits go to help the needy children on the waterfront.
We know, and I think it's just wonderful.
So do I. We can buy all these lovely items and still help the unfortunate.
That's right.
Well, feel like lunch, Holly?
Oh, do I? I'm starved.
Oh, good. Why don't you take a break and we'll go have a bite at our health bistro?
Sounds wonderful. Could you take over for me, Betty?
Of course, Mrs. Scorpio.
I won't be long. We're just going to be eating right here at the spa.
That's fine. Take your time. I love waiting on the customers.
So, how's it going? Well, so far it's been very encouraging. Sales really seem to be picking up.
Good. Glad to hear it. I need hardly tell you that I'm here to help in every way I can.
Well, we really appreciate it, especially the space.
Well, I'm looking forward to a long association with your charity.
You've been very generous.
Believe me, it's a pleasure. As the saying goes, charity begins at home. Don't you agree?
Put him in business. I'm solely responsible for his survival.
Hello. Robert, am I interrupting anything important?
Not at all. I'm glad you called. Where are you, at the spa?
Yeah, that's right.
How's it going?
Oh, well, business is good, but nothing terribly exciting is happening. I was just calling to find out what's happening to Blackie.
Well, his appearance in the state Supreme Court should be over just about now.
Do you have any idea of how it's going?
No. But Jake promised to report back to me the minute the session is over. He should turn up here soon.
Oh, you sound so apprehensive.
I am.
There's no chance that Blackie could get off with probation, is there?
Hardly a chance at all. Maybe a light sentence, but at the least I'm hoping that the judge won't remand him to a hardcore facility like Osterwald.
That would be terrible. A boy like Blackie...
I agree. But frankly, that's just the sort of thing that does worry me.
Well, I can understand why. I suppose now it's just a matter of hoping for the best.
Well, in this case, the best would be the Hudson facility, and that's only by comparison to Osterwald.
Will you call me when you've seen Jake?
I will. How'd it go?
All but over.
And?
I'm telling you, Robert, I felt absolutely useless.
Like you knew you were there to help him. I mean, you're his attorney.
Yes, and I tried to help him. I did my level best.
Of course you did.
He was incapable of giving himself the slightest advantage.
Incapable or unwilling?
Both. I tried to stop him. He was determined. No, more than that. He seemed possessed. He said everything possible to put himself in the worst light with the judge.
The judge has set sentencing for tomorrow. That's fast, isn't it?
Yeah, well, Blackie wanted it that way. He asked for it several times. All he wanted was a speedy sentencing. The court merely granted his request.
Look, Jake, I can understand your frustration, but believe me, there's nothing else you could have done.
No. No, nothing. Well, now all we can do is keep our fingers crossed and hope.
About the sentence?
Yeah. The length of it, and especially where they send him. I think of that kid spending time in some hardcore place like Osterwald. I shudder.
Yeah. Been on my mind, too. If it appears that Blackie's going to be confined, and that seems to be the way it's...
Oh, yes, definitely. His attitude in court today eliminated any possibility of probation.
Then, as you said, it comes down to hope. Hope that the judge will remand him in one of the minimum security places like Hudson or one of those.
Well, I've been a lawyer long enough to know you can't predict what a judge is going to decide.
I agree. But I've been asking around. This guy seems quite fair.
Oh, yeah, he's very fair. As a matter of fact, the proceedings, he gave Blackie every opportunity of bettering his position. He just wouldn't do it.
Then there's one aspect we can still count on.
What's that?
If the judge is as bright as we think he is, maybe it'll work in Blackie's favor.
How?
Well, obviously, he'll be able to see through Blackie's sense of remorse, strong obligation to guilt that he has, wanting to take full responsibility for Lou's death. Maybe, just maybe, that'll sway him in Blackie's favor.
I agree. Matter of fact, I think it's our last hope right now. Oh,
yeah, come in, Bert.
Well, I just got word from the bailiff. Blackie absolutely refused to make a case for himself.
Yeah, He put himself in the worst possible position. I couldn't do anything about it.
I know. The bailiff told me.
But what's the situation here?
Well, the judge has granted Blackie's request to visit the funeral home, right?
Yeah, they said bail at $10,000.
Well, that's low. I mean, that's a good sign.
Well, to a point. The DA objected to the low bail, but the court overruled him. The judge felt sure that Blackie would not leave town and they would come back for sentencing, and that way it was a good sign.
Well, has the bail been posted?
Yeah, Rick's already done it. Contacted a bondsman, put up the bail. He's getting ready now to take Blackie over to the funeral home.
When are the services scheduled?
Later today. It's a private ceremony.
You're going?
Of course.
It's going to be rough on everyone.
Very. Tomorrow's going to be just as bad.
Tomorrow's?
Blackie's funeral. When they hand down that sentence.
The sales records are right up to the moment, Jane, so when you close up, just add whatever last-minute purchases you may handle to it.
No problem, Mrs. Scorpio.
Telephone for Miss Lorena Sharp.
Is there anything else you need to know?
No, I'll be fine.
And you're in tomorrow?
Yes, the early shift.
Okay, see you tomorrow then. Good luck.
Thanks.
Telephone for Miss Lorena Sharp.
Is that the call for Lorena?
Yes.
She's not here. I had lunch with her. She mentioned she was going out on business. I doubt that she'll be back this late.
Well, I tried to tell whoever it was on the phone, whoever it is on the phone, that she is not here, but he is very insistent. Look, I have to take this membership list up to an exercise class, and this man just won't hang up.
Do you want me to take it?
Would you please? Oh, I'm late as it is. Thanks.
Hello? Yes, this is Holly Scorpio. Can I help you? Yes, I realize that, but we've checked and Lorena Sharp is not in the building. No, I'm sorry. I've really no idea. Can I take a message for you? Yes, I will. Okay, I've got that. Yes, I will make sure it gets to her, okay? Bye. Oh, Lorena, there was just a call for you. In fact, I was writing down a note.
Oh, anything important?
Well, the man who was calling thought so. He asked me twice to make sure he got the message.
Oh, who was it?
He just left his first name, Leo. What did he say? Just that to tell you that he'd called. Did he leave a number? No, just his first name, Leo. And that's all? Yes. Well, Holly, are you sure there was just no message at all? None, except that he would call back. When? Did he say? No, he didn't, Lorena.
Darling, far be it for me to spoil your fun, but I really think you're imagining things again.
Robert, I know I'm not. And incidentally, what do you mean again?
Oh, come on. The merest hint of a mystery and your little mind shifts into overdrive.
Is that so wrong?
No. One of the things I love about you.
Then you do agree that Lorena's reaction to that telephone message was not usual.
You're absolutely wonderful, you know that? You can have me believing things that I wouldn't think, much less speak.
What does that mean?
It means, my dear, that Lorena's reaction to the phone call was not in the slightest bit unusual.
Well, I was there and you weren't.
An important point.
I saw the look on her face, I'm telling you. As soon as I mentioned the name Leo, she went into a spin.
You mean to say she fainted or just sort of went a little bit catatonic?
Now you're making fun of me.
Out of love, I promise.
She didn't scream, and she didn't go catatonic, but I saw the look on her face. It was not the normal reaction to getting a telephone message.
What was this man's name again?
Leo.
No, his last name.
He didn't give one. I thought that was very strange.
I'm surprised. I mean, the whole thing sounds perfectly simple to me.
What?
Obviously, Leo is a debt collector.
What?
Yes, and he's hot on Lorena's trail for whatever reason. He didn't want to give his last name away. There you go, case solved.
Sometimes you are absolutely impossible.
Well, I mean, don't you think that's a logical solution?
No, I think it's utterly frivolous.
It's meant to be.
May I ask why?
Because, my mushy little Sherlock Holmes, the spa is a frivolous place.
It is not.
It is so. Look, one phone call's got that overactive imagination of yours going crazy, and you ought to be grateful.
Grateful for what?
Well, it's just one great round of fun and games in there. You should lie back and just enjoy it. Now, come on. Come on, open the door.
Counselor, does the defense wish to make a statement before sentences?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll make this brief. Your Honor, I implore you to consider the extraordinary circumstances surrounding this most unfortunate accident. Blackie Parrish is a young man who woke up one morning to find that he was famous. He was flung from obscurity into national prominence literally almost overnight. One can learn to play music through hard work and practice, but there's just no way to prepare for stardom. This dizzying ascent has destroyed many a career. Of course, the tragedy in this case is that not only did it take a promising songwriter, but an innocent young girl as well. Perhaps Blackie is most guilty for being unable to cope with his dream come true. But I assure you, Your Honor, Blackie Parrish has punished himself to a far greater degree than any sentence this court could hand down. I need only remind the court of his attitude during these entire proceedings, his demand for punishment. May I also remind this court of how far Blackie has come since his days as a delinquent youth. This boy has changed his life. He's gone to college and made a successful career for himself. He's gained the love and respect of many of the people in his community. But most important, Your Honor, Blackie is very sorry for what happened. No one could grieve more for Lou than Blackie. If incarceration is, in part, intended to induce repentance, and it is certainly unnecessary in this case, justice without mercy is not justice at all. I ask this court for mercy in rendering its sentence.
Most eloquently put, Mr. Meyer. Mr. Boyer, does the state suggest a particular sentence in this case?
No, Your Honor. In this particular incident, we have no recommendation as to a suitable sentence for this defendant. We leave that to the wisdom of the court.
No, it's certainly unusual for a prosecutor not to request a penalty.
Your Honor, this is a most unusual case.
So it is. Well, I've carefully considered all the facts in this case, and I've given a great deal of weight to the less tangible nuances which are most definitely present here, and so ably put forth by the counselor for the defense. I'm now ready to render my decision. Albert Parrish, will you please rise? The court has taken due note of all the testimony in this case, and I also acknowledge the defendant's genuine remorse, which speaks well for his future in society. However, the one inescapable fact of this case is that had not Mr. Parrish stolen another young man's song, the events leading up to the tragic death of Louisa Swenson would never have occurred. I agree with Mr. Meyer. Punishment is not the issue here. Rehabilitation is. Therefore, Albert Parrish, I sentence you to be incarcerated for 2 years. Quiet, please. Quiet. Order, or I will clear this court. Of these 2 years, 6 months is to be served at whatever prison the Department of Corrections deems appropriate. The remaining 18 months of your sentence is to be spent at the Green Hill Rehabilitation Center. This court is adjourned.
All rise.
Listen, I want you to go call the whip. Lord.
Oh, Rick, the sentence could have been worse.
That could have been better. Shorter.
I was just hoping we could avoid the prison part of it.
Here he is.
Well, are you holding up?
All right. What happens next, guys?
Well, I had you brought here so that you could say some of your goodbyes in private.
Oh. Thank you.
Bert?
Yeah, let's go.
Blackie, who's next?
A young lady who loves you very much.
Jeff? Come on, man. Be 6 months, I'll be out of the rehab center. You won't even miss me, buddy.
Well, it's hardly a holiday camp, Blackie, but as prisoners go, it's not a bad place to be. It's the best correctional facility in the system.
Well, I'll tell you how it is after I get out, huh?
Watch out for yourself, mate.
Thank you, mate.
We'll all be here if you need us, Blackie. Don't forget that, huh?
Thank you, Ramsey. See you, boys.
Oh, Holly, there you are. Did you happen to notice, did I get any phone calls this morning?
None that I know of.
That's funny. I better check my office.
Hello, Lorena.
I thought your work here was finished.
Yes, it is. I just came by to see Holly. Hello, Holly.
Well, look who's here.
Hi.
It's so nice to see you again. It's ages since we've had that chance to have a nice talk.
It has been.
Well, we can go and have a nice cup of coffee in the Spa Bistro and catch up.
No, I'd love to. Any other day, but I'm afraid I have a million things to do and I don't have a minute.
What's the big rush?
A last-minute dinner party. I decided this morning to have Boris and his daughter over for dinner.
Boris? Isn't that the man you had to sit and have lunch with on crates the other day?
Yes, the same. And his daughter is named Tanya.
Well, I thought that you weren't.
You know, I wasn't. But I changed my mind.
Something to do with Grant?
Everything to do with Grant and me.
Problems?
Nothing I can't deal with, and this is just part of my plan to deal with it.
Just like you to confront things like that.
Well, I'm a little nervous about tonight. I want everything perfect.
Oh, with the way you plan things, I'm sure it'll be just fine. What time are you having dinner?
About 6:30.
Oh, that's hardly the time for formal dining.
Yes, well, just what I thought. I'm going to be using stoneware, and I stopped by here to get a shawl to use as a tablecloth. I saw one here last week that would just be perfect. Oh, no, here, this is it. Oh, yes, this is wonderful. How much is this?
Here.
That's outrageous.
It's Italian. Do you still want it?
Oh, boy. What the heck? It'll make Grant happy. Yes, but would you take the tag off and put it in a bag? I don't want Grant to know how much I paid for it. That would ruin the whole evening.
Okay. Got some interesting gossip for you.
About whom?
Dr. Campbell.
Oh, has Robert heard from him?
No, but he did find a key that belonged to him.
A key to what?
To his apartment in England. He didn't know that until he made a wax impression of it, and they sent it off by plane to England. And sure enough, fits Dr. Campbell's apartment door.
Well, does that prove anything?
Well, they searched the apartment, and they found his travel itinerary to America. It seems that his only destination was Port Charles. No mention of New York or any place else, for that matter.
Well, you remember that Dr. Campbell left a message saying that he was called away on an emergency.
Oh, yes, well, Robert's very well aware of that, but, seems highly unlikely that someone would be away that long on an emergency and not get in touch with anybody. That's why Robert's pretty sure that there's some foul play.
So Robert thinks that Dr. Campbell was killed?
Well, nobody's heard from him in weeks.
Well, what proof does he have, though?
Nothing tangible as yet.
Maybe the man just left of his own accord.
Well, why would he do that?
Well, I don't know. He maybe owed some money, or he got into some scandal in England and had to get away.
No, afraid not. Robert had somebody check up on him. And sure enough, he's, from what they know, he's just led a very quiet life, and he's very devoted to his work.
Any women in his life?
Well, I think he used to date or the town librarian on occasion.
Now, not much of a hellraiser then, are you?
No.
The whole thing sounds so perplexing.
Perplexing and mysterious.